Gotcha. So today we're talking about the coronavirus food assistance program. In these crazy times, if your community hasn't experienced a large number of sick, you are feeling the effects of the pandemic in some way, whether it's emotionally, physically, and you're actually sick, or you know someone who's sick, or physically like me and you put on 15 pounds because you haven't left the house. We're all feeling the effects. And I think for the most part, financially is one of those big effects that people are feeling, not just, in our community, but throughout the country, throughout the world. So this coronavirus food assistance program is our topic. And we have Sean Rafferty with the FSA, Sedgwick County and Harvey County with us, and also Ryan Fleming with Harvey County, the ag agent there with K-State Research and Extension. So this program is going to offer some financial relief to ag producers experiencing down markets as a result of the pandemic. So Sean, what kind of financial relief is being offered? Is it tax breaks, discounts on fertilizer? Are we talking direct payments?
Well, Jeff, that's a really good question. And there's a lot of different pieces with regards to this program. We're going to refer to it as CFAP. But from our farmer perspective, what we're offering is currently a one-time direct payment for both crops and livestock. And the payments that we're going to be issuing right now is going to be 80% of the total. And that's simply because I believe it's a matter of balancing the budget with regards to how many people we actually have come in and make application.
Okay, so with that 80%, I shouldn't have to worry about money running out. I shouldn't have to run into your office as fast as I can or apply as fast as I can. But funding is not expected to run out, correct? Or should we be worried about that?
Well, I would like to think that there is no need to worry about funding, but in the current situation with the federal government, I have not been warned of a situation where the sooner you can get in and apply, the sooner you can actually be guaranteed a payment. I don't think we're going to be running into a funding situation, but that's going to be up to Congress to decide. The only factor I have right now is to make sure we try to get everyone to provide us with an application by August the 28th. Now, in the past, sometimes on programs, deadlines have been extended, but as of now, August 28th is our target to try and get everyone with some sort of an application in our hands so we can turn around a payment as quickly as possible.
Okay. And Sean, for these direct payments, who is eligible for these? Is it just the farmer? Is it the landowner? How is that going to work?
All right, so that's a good question. And so pretty much anybody who's got an agricultural commodity that was raised in the United States, who has an ownership interest in that crop, is eligible to apply. So we're looking at possibly receiving participation from folks that we've never seen before. And I'm hoping a lot of that's going to come from the livestock sector.
All right, and just a quick little break. We have a few more people joining us. For those of you who just got on, if you have questions at any point, just go ahead and type them in the chat, and we'll see if we can get those answered for you. So continuing on, I'm an agronomy guy, so let's start with some of the crop side. For this, what crops are involved?
Well, okay, so one of the first things that we've been doing, as everybody knows, a lot of your FSA offices are open, but when I say open, I say that kind of in a context that we're open and we're answering the phone. But as you, Jeff, can everybody see me? Because I don't know if they can or not. Okay, so as you can kind of figure out, I'm not in an FSA office. This makes week number 10 for me that I've been working out of the garage. This Tuesday was the first time I was actually in the office trying to help with the sign up of CFAP. And what we're trying to do is have all of our producers, if they want to get the application in more quickly, is go to farmers.gov/CFAP. And from there, all of the things that I'm talking about will be listed. And it's a very intuitive website. The application process is very easy. And I know you asked about crops, and we're going to talk about those in a second. But once you go into that website, you just simply scroll down to the bottom of the very first page, and there are 5 different areas in which information is being provided. Now, for the folks we've got on your listening list and those who may have chimed in, the most popular items in our area are going to be livestock, and what FSA is referring to as non-specialty crops. Now, there's a pretty big list here, and some of these items are going to be what I'm going to consider non-traditional farmer lists for crops, but from probably the ag production perspective on 99% of the producers that I work with, we're talking about payments on corn, cotton, soybeans, milo, sunflowers. Now, you're probably noticing I didn't say wheat. Wheat is listed, but it's not hard red winter. And I know that's going to be a bit of a disappointment factor on a lot of folks. Now, as we all know, sometimes Congress changes the rules on things, but right now, hard red winter is not eligible for a commodity in this program. And then the other kind of main hurdle that needs to be met is these crops we will pay on, but we're only paying on a 2019 crop where the producer maintained ownership as of January 15th. So saying that same thing in a different way, if our producers had these crops, they had ownership and they hadn't sold them all as of January 15th or later, then those would be the bushels that they would need to put on the application and we would make a payment on. So once again, those main crops that I'm used to seeing is going to be your cotton, millet, oats, soybeans, sorghum, and sunflowers. Hard red winter's not there, but we do have spring wheat and we do have durum wheat. And so we're talking about crops here, and we're talking about livestock also. So you're kind of thinking to yourself, well, what are you wanting from me as a producer when I fill out the application? It's very simple. Whether it be an application for livestock or these non-specialty crops, all you got to put on the form is your certification to the total number of bushels that you owned as of January 15th. Now, the livestock piece is a certification of numbers also, but we've got 2 different dates that we're working with.
Okay, Sean, and from my understanding with the hard red winter wheat, I've heard some other people kind of complain about that, but a majority of that wheat had already been sold by the time the effects of the pandemic really started to hit. And I think they set that in stone, that January 15th to April 15th, saying between these dates, the markets were hurt a lot, or these were the main dates they were hurt. If your crop didn't lose 5% of market value in that time, then you're not going to get a payment. Am I understanding that correctly?
Jeff, you're exactly right. And there's also that same kind of magical window on the first payment for livestock. So they're looking at, that reduction in your market. Let's see, the term they're using is market risk or crops at market risk, something along those lines.
Okay.
For livestock, oh, go ahead.
Of course, someone needs to call when I'm on with you guys. Let me see if I can mute this. I hate to do this during a live, but hang on just 1 second. Hey, Robbie, I'm on a radio thing right now. I'm going to have to give you a call back.
Again, if anyone listening live has some questions, you can go ahead and type those in the chat.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry, Ryan. What was your question on? Were we talking about livestock?
Yeah, for livestock, for the head count, how does that work? How do they track that? Say someone's got 10 head of cows, what's their options, or how's that going to work?
Okay, so on the livestock, and I just want you guys just to remember, everything that we've got is on this farmers.gov forward, that's the forward slash is the one that's the on the question mark, CFAP. There's two different time periods that we're looking at on livestock. And so we're looking at a period of time when the livestock were sold, and this is just based upon head. There's a couple weight categories, and we can talk about those. And then there's a separate period of time where we want the total inventory that the people still have on hand. So from January 15th through April 15th, livestock head that was sold during that time period would be eligible for a payment. This would include calves. It's a pretty easy breakdown. You have more or less than 600 pounds on feeders. Slaughtered cattle come into a different category. And then, of course, there's another category. I'm just going off of memory here. For all other cattle, that would be like your replacement heifers, your culled cows, things like that. A common question that I'm getting up there in Harvey County is, what about dairy cows? Can I count those in this livestock piece? And the current answer is no. Dairy cow, any dairy breeds that are used for the production of milk are not included. They get a benefit with regards to getting a payment on milk pounds produced during these same dates as well.
Okay, I found what you're talking about with the breakups and stuff. It's pretty clear on the website, it looks like.
It's very clear on the website, and there's even a calculator that helps you work through coming up with your numbers, and then from that calculator, it will shoot the data onto the individual form. Now, a little bit deeper into the cattle piece, I mentioned earlier that the first breakdown is on cattle numbers sold. I want everyone to know that those livestock numbers are priced significantly higher than those livestock numbers that are based on total inventory. And the program is designed to make sure that the most benefit is being paid to those folks who are financially impacted from January 15th to April 15th. And that kind of ties back to what Jeff was referring to with regards to why hard red winter is not included in CFAP.
All right, Sean, skipping back to crops a little bit. So if I, at harvest time, I took my crops straight to the elevator, sold them on the spot, I don't own any grain, it's gone, then this program doesn't have any payment to offer me, correct?
That is correct. Those crops that were sold across the scale probably got a benefit under the MFP program. But unfortunately, CFAP is just focusing on those income losses pretty much from January 15th forward.
Okay, so just stored grain. So if I have some in my bins, if I have some at the elevator, then those are going to get a payment, right?
Sure.
So what
That's
is
right.
my 100 bushels of corn going to get paid on? We'll use 100 because I'm not good with big numbers. What would be the rate
Sure.
that I would get paid?
Oh, what's the payment rate? Oh, okay. I'm going to have to do some clicking on that one. So just like anybody else, the easiest place to go to is farmers.gov/CFAP. I'm going to hit non-specialty crops, and we're going to see what corn is paying. And when you look at this, when you look at the payment rates, there's actually two. And the payment rates are because when Congress came up with the CARES Act, they came up with a bucket of money. And when the Secretary of Agriculture was looking at that bucket of money, he figured we need a little bit more. So there's two different payment rates there. Corn, you get a CARES payment of 32 cents a bushel, and then you get also a supplemental payment from FSA of 35 cents a bushel.
And those, how I understood it, that 32 cents will be on one half of my inventory and the other rate's going to be on the other half of the inventory. I just
Very
listed
good.
something right before this.
Nope, you're right. Right, that is correct. Now, sometimes people will give me a call and they'll say, "Okay, Sean, I want to do this calculation. I want you to walk me through it. I got my pencil. Let's go." Well, I hate to break it to you, but I'm not that smart. So the way this thing is we just load the bushels in there, or should I say the staff does. They load the bushels in there, and it just generates a payment. The producer is going to see one payment when it shows up to the bank account, but the transaction statement will show the breakdown on which number of bushels got CARES money and which number of bushels got FSA money. Now, one additional comment, which kind of goes back to livestock, is there are some folks that are feeding corn right now. So they're trying to figure out, oh, well, geez, what do I do for the number of bushels there? Well, keep a good feed record, and you just got to tell us how many bushels you've got.
So
of course,
you won't need a proof of inventory. I don't need to somehow show you that I have, 10,000 bushels in the bin or whatever.
Right. This is a 100% producer certification program. It's not going to check back against an acreage report. An acreage report doesn't even have to be filed. So if you've got a producer who raises corn who doesn't normally come into the FSA office, they are still eligible to apply, but it's a straight up certification subject to a national spot check later on down the road. I don't know what percentage of applications will be pulled, but our inventory controls with our dollars is usually just computer generated. And sometimes we get a bunch pulled in Kansas and sometimes we won't get any.
Okay, Ryan, did you have any more livestock questions? I'm kind of finishing up my crop stuff and I was going to move on just to some general stuff if you don't have any more livestock.
I was going through that website. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. And I noticed not all livestock was covered, but a good chunk of it was.
That's right. So when you go to that farmers.gov/CFAP, you just go down to the bottom of the first page, and livestock is over on the right-hand side. And when you click on that box, it gives you a little brief description, but if you go over to the bottom of that first paragraph, there's another link. And when you click that link, you kind of get a breakdown a little bit more on these cattle numbers and how we're breaking them out on weights. But I did want to put in there that we are paying on sheep and lamb, and we're paying on pigs too. And the breakdowns and weight are right there. And it's pretty easy. On the pigs, it's either more or less than 120 pounds, and on the cattle, on your feeder cattle, it's either more or less than 600 pounds. Doesn't get much easier. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Looks like you're paying on wool too.
Yeah. I don't mess much with wool, so that'll be a new one.
All right. So does enrollment in this program affect?
There's a question, Jeff, also.
Oh, sorry, Ryan. You want to read it? I don't have that chat up.
Oh, yeah. It says, we are talking about grain owned as of January 15th to present, or grain owned between January 15th through April 15th, or both.
From what I understand, you just had to have ownership of it on January the 15th. So if you sold it on the 16th, it still counts. Anything that you had ownership of as of the 15th. I know where Jeff's going on this next one with regards to payments. Is that right?
I did get one other question. Sorry, I missed it earlier. It says regular breeding cows fall into the other cattle category ?
That's what I've been told so far.
Okay.
All other cattle.
Okay, so my question was going to be, does enrollment in the program affect my farm bill payments or eligibility in any other programs?
To my knowledge, from what they're saying right now, no. This has a completely different payment limitation that's higher than anything I've ever seen. There is a separate tab on that, and if you're lucky enough to fall into that income bracket of more than $900,000, there is a form for you to complete. As long as 75% of that income comes from agriculture, you will be eligible for additional payment limitations. So that's great. You know, they're trying to make this as user-friendly as possible, not only in the application process, but for us that are trying to work with farmers from their garages, or even just trying to make sure that, you know, everyone who has an agricultural commodity that is subject to price risk loss can participate in the program.
So yeah, this does seem a little more simple than those farm bill programs. So you're not going to have to wait for K-State to come out with a decision tool for 4 months after you've already made your decision. So that, I like that about this program.
I like it too, and it's just a certification, and the hardest thing is just trying to get this large number of folks to get us an application and sign in the right spots. And you know, nothing about this situation is easy, but we're giving it a go, that's for certain.
All right, so Sean, I have a few more questions. Just kind of some finishing up things. Can we schedule an appointment with you if we need assistance? Will that be in person, or will that be over the phone? Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
All right, so on Monday, between me and one other employee in Sedgwick County, we fielded over 150 phone calls. And a vast majority of them, I'm going to say probably about 98% of them, were more than willing to go and try and access this through the computer. If by some chance you don't have access to a computer, we'll take your name and number, and whenever we get back into the office, someone will mail you an application. Once you get that application on file, you can give us a call and we can walk you through it. Or believe it or not, there's actually a 1877 number that anybody can call if FSA here in town happens to be busy, and they can walk you through the process as well. Let me, I'm hopping over right quick to get that number. Oh, I'm on the spot. I can't find it. There is a number within this website, though, that you can call. But any FSA office will be able to help, whether it be Harvey County, Sedgwick County, or anybody else. And we can walk them through the application step by step on the phone. They will be through the phone. Unfortunately, since our doors are locked and it's going to take an approval from Homeland Security before we can unlock those doors, we need to do the best we can as far as working through these with social distancing. On Monday, I did do one over the hood of a pickup. It was probably my best application of the day because I got to talk about more than just about this program. So we can do them over the hood, but Sedgwick County and Harvey County has a very large number of producers, and there's only 9 of us. So the more they can do from home on their own, great. I'm really disappointed, Jeff, I can't find this 877 number. Maybe I give you that number and you can put it on your website?
Yeah, I can do that for sure.
Okay, all right.
Once certification is complete, when should we expect payments?
We're going to work through them the fastest that we can. The payments will come out more quickly if you're already an FSA participant. If you're a brand new producer, there's probably going to be some follow-up phone calls from our office to help you get through there. I don't have a timeline. A week ago today, we received a conference call on how to complete this process, and we just started taking applications on Tuesday. So far, not too many changes have come out, but I don't have a timeline. All I can say is as soon as possible. I don't have the authority yet to approve them just yet, but I anticipate that coming out pretty soon. And it will be a race to try and see how many we can get out as fast as we can. We don't want anybody to miss out, that's for certain.
There's a question that popped up. Could you explain the Part F on the application form?
Part F. Part F has to do with value loss. From what I was told, I don't believe value loss applies in Kansas. That may change, but that was something that was not touched upon during our training at all. If this producer who's asking the question has a unique situation like with broccoli or something like that, I encourage him to call just call one of the offices and we can walk him through that. But value loss is something that's not commonly used. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, the value loss piece, they didn't even really touch on it much during the call because of its limited capacity.
And the next comment was, so we just leave it blank, I assume?
Yes, just leave it blank. Just leave it blank. Be rest assured, if any application comes in and something is missing, we will be giving them a call. One thing I've noticed on here is there's not a telephone number. We're pretty good about finding people.
All right, I've gone through all the questions I've had. If those listening in have any more, we'll hold on for a few minutes here if you want to type those in. Other than that, taking applications now through August 28th as of right now, correct, Sean?
That is correct. Yes, that's our current date, and we're going to get through them as fast as we can. Like I said, we got limited staff in the office. If by some chance you call a local office and you have to leave a voice message, someone will get back with you. So don't worry about that.
Ryan, you got anything else?
I think you nailed it. Another question popped up.
All
Are parts A and D all we fill out for grain?
Parts A and D. Part A is the producer agreement. They might be looking at the calculator. The calculator could be a little bit different. But for the main crops we have here, you're looking at Part D. On the form I have here, Part A is just the producer agreement. Just a follow-up to Part D, or even, which is a livestock side, or even Part E. I'm sorry, let me try that again. Part D is crops. Part E is livestock. You're only going to put on the form your share of ownership. There's not a place.
They said, sorry, I meant Part B, not A.
Oh, okay. Part B. You bet. Put your Part B on there. That way we know who to pay. But there's not a place for shares on here, so you're just going to put your ownership in the bushels. If you happen to have a 50% share in a 100-head herd, you're just going to put down 50 head.
All right. I'm not seeing any more come in. Sean, I think we talked about doing like a 10-minute interview. We're about at 45 minutes now. But I appreciate you coming on with us and answering some of these questions. If there's some interest in it, we talked about doing another one of these live Zoom meetings. We'll just see if we have people contacting us about that, then we'll go ahead and get another one scheduled. But until then, I will have this recording available on the Sedgwick County Extension website on my agriculture page if anyone wants to go back and rewatch it, and for anyone that wasn't able to join us today. So thanks, everyone.